Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Connor, and today I want to talk about, of course, OpenAI's DevDay, which really only happened a few hours ago. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I think a lot of people had. So let's get right into it. First of all, let me just set the stage literally. The stage was actually pretty modest, and I sort of love that. It felt like sort of super fancy middle school, and it just gave the impression of like, look, we are here to work. Forget all the bells and whistles. We are here to show you really cool things. And then Sam Altman gets up there, and he sort of takes this deep breath, and it was just sweet, right? You're like, okay, this guy has come to work, right? So let's get right into what they presented. Let's start with this. ChatGPT4 Turbo has arrived. And if you know how big these leaps are from 3.5 Turbo to 4, these are big leaps in quality and speed. So super excited to see that. That's the first thing they drop, right? The second thing is that this is going to be about 3 times cheaper for developers to use, meaning if they are building apps or other models like with these things through like an API, you have to pay pay to use this, and it's going to be 3x cheaper, almost 3x cheaper, which is huge for developers. Now, I'm not a developer, so I'm not going to really focus on those things, but I thought right off the bat that's going to make a lot of people happy, big cheering, etc. The big thing right off the bat was the size of the context window. So that's how much you can get in there. In the past, I've found that you could probably get about 2,400 words into ChatGPT, right? Not bad. But what OpenAI has probably noticed, everybody has, is that when you had to put something big in there, you go over to a competitor. You go over to Anthropic's Claude, which is a fantastic model as well, and you use that. OpenAI is clearly like, we're losing people to this. They expanded their context window to 128K tokens. That means that about 300 pages can fit into one single query, which is absolutely bonkers. That is just really, really huge. So that's number one. The second thing, and they'd sort of started to drop this a little bit, but essentially, with a ChatGPT Pro account, and by the way, if you're not spending $20 a month on this, go return that latte and a half or whatever else you're spending $20 on and spend your money on this per month. It is worth it. Anyway, on the Pro account, it used to have drop-down menus. So the challenge with that is that if you wanted to use DALL-E in there, or Code Interpreter, Advanced Data Analytics, or whatever it's called, or Bing, or Vision, or something like that, you had to choose which one to use, and you couldn't combine them. Now it is all one giant thing. And you've probably seen some demos around this. It's just very cool. And the power of that all working together, I can't even get my head around it. I haven't even tried it yet. I cannot wait to see it. Also, a lot of these things were not available through APIs, meaning, to developers and everything like that. And now they will be, which is also huge. But the big announcement, I feel like, even though those are really big, were these things called GPTs. And GPTs are essentially your own customized chatbots, right? Like, this is sort of the future of all this personalized, customizable chatbot that you use. So in other words, like, you might put in a prompt and say, hey, this is a health and fitness bot, and it's really focused on this, and here's the attitude. It'll have kind of essentially a permanent prompt in there, almost like a custom instruction. But the really cool thing is that Sam Altman built one live on stage. I think that takes guts. I love when they do that. You can really see it. But what he did was, he's like, hey, I'm going to create, SamBot or whatever it is. And it is going to assist new founders with their startups. So he basically set a prompt. He customized it in a few ways. He showed it going through that. And then the really cool part, he actually uploaded these documents of his old speeches and talks that he gave to founders and on this topic. So now this bot will pull directly from these very sort of almost like fine-tuned models with this sort of specialized data like his speeches, but also it will also have access to the entire corpus of knowledge that you get through ChatGPT4, or Turbo now, I guess, which is also what they just dropped kind of willy-nilly now up to April 2023, which really isn't bad, because considering just recently it was September 2021. So that's getting more updated. But that to me was really phenomenal. And the other really cool thing, well, 2 more really cool things. One is that there will be a store for these, a ChatGPT, or rather a GPT store. So if I create one that's like, hey, Connor's, famous juggling chef advice for things that, cupcakes you can juggle. I don't know. That's a really stupid example. But you know what I mean? Like, if everybody fell in love with that, don't steal it if it's super popular. But if everybody fell in love with that, and let's say I'm the number one GPT that everybody goes to, right? ChatGPT or OpenAI rather will share revenue with me, because you can go and search for everybody else's stuff. You can search for these own little, sort of these GPTs, specialized GPTs, which is really, really cool, especially the revenue sharing part. I think it's really going to inspire people to really work at this and really come up with some great ones. That's super cool. And the last thing I'll just say on this, because there's other developer news, but I'm not a developer, so I won't focus on it. The other really cool thing is that everybody's waiting to see what they would talk about with autonomous agents. And what that means is that instead of just giving you advice, the tool actually carries out the execution of it. Instead of just saying, tell me flights to Paris, it will actually book you a flight to Paris and a million other things. But what he was saying was, he's like, look, these we have to be careful with. We are going to roll these out very slowly. GPTs will sort of like be the earliest evolution of those things. We want to get them right. And then very slowly, we're going to be working our way to autonomous agents. And I appreciate that. It's definitely the way of the world. It's definitely like an ethical and alignment approach that's really important to the world these days, and especially important to government. I think that that was a really big deal. But the fact that they're even talking about it is super cool. So that's it. Just my super sort of high level take. Absolutely loved it. Super excited about it. Cannot wait to try all these things out. If you like this channel, subscribe to it, or find me over at the AI Applied Podcast or LinkedIn or anywhere else. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I'll see you next time.